Sales is the most important skill we can possibly learn in life, in every aspect of our life. Never in human history has it been more important to learn these skills. I think with some of the new techniques that we have because of the AI and some things we're doing, I think we're going to get better results. I think we could probably double sales within 75 days. So instead of you learning all the specs about your product, which nobody cares about, they want to hear the story. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing day in, day out, expecting different results. Hi, it's Roman Bodnarchuk from the Best Half Show. Today is probably the most important show we've ever done. The reason it's so important is about sales. Sales is the most important skill we can possibly learn in life, in every aspect of our life, whether it's like convincing your kids to go to bed on time or, discussion with your partner, whatever it is, sales is the most important topic. So that's why we've got two segments all about sales. So let's start with some background. I didn't come from a sales background. Obviously, I was born into a one-bedroom apartment. In the one-bedroom apartment, it was shared with my mom and my dad, which were immigrants. My dad was born in Germany, escaping the war. My mom was born in Austria, in Salzburg, Austria, in a refugee camp, escaping a war. And we lived with my grandparents. So, just to tell you kind of where we began, a one-bedroom apartment shared with grandparents, my parents, and me, the baby. I guess my first sales experience was under our apartment. My grandmother ran a delicatessen called Helen's Delicatessen. We didn't have daycare those days, so the daycare was me in a little baby thing, greeting customers. That's where I learned face-to-face sales. And from that experience, again, humble beginnings, an immigrant family, my grandparents are from Ukraine, I learned to appreciate everything. And maybe that's why I think I've been happy, because anytime we got anything, it was like, wow, this is amazing. So I came from a generation we call middle class. This is the generation that they're annihilating right now. And if you think this is a joke, take this seriously. Literally today, for example, I live in Toronto, to qualify for a mortgage, under the new rules, just to get an average house, your income has to be over $200,000 a year. And now when I say income, I'm talking about the income you paid on your tax return. So that's just to qualify for a basic house in Toronto. So there's been a war against the middle class, and it's going to get worse. So this is a really important topic for me, because never in history has been more important to really sharpen your skills. The $6 billion in sales that our company was responsible for was primarily for two reasons. One is because we used some incredible software. The first decade we used Mark's software. Mark's company ended up selling to his original company called Eloqua. It's how we met about 24 years ago, and it ended up selling to Oracle. In the last 15 years, we used a software called HubSpot, which is about to be acquired by Google for $50 billion. So half of our success was because we always chose the right software, but the other half was because we taught people how to sell using the latest technologies, the latest tools. So we created this thing called Condo Mastery. Most of our sales were in real estate. And we're actually re-recording and redoing it all. It's almost like Taylor Swift re-recording all her hits. What I'm learning is 80%, maybe 90% of what we taught for the last few decades is as accurate and is as important now as it was then. But because of AI and because of the way people are now completely addicted to their cell phones and look at it 350 times per day. I'm just going to repeat that again. The average person is looking at their cell phone 350 times per day. Average usage when you look at your screen time is 7 hours per day. That's more than you're sleeping. So the way you sell today is a little bit changed. So today I'm going to talk about some of the fundamentals, but I want to give you some background. The first thing I'm going to tell you is what's holding you back in life is your identity. The stories that you've told yourself is why you're where you're at. So for you to get to your 3.0, and the Best Half Show is all about living your best life and to 10x your life. But to do that, you've got to change your identity, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing day in, day out, expecting different results. So Mark and I, for example, we started with this weight loss transformation, and I'm looking at some old videos of Mark, and I'm looking at some old videos of me, and we were fat. I mean, nothing wrong with being fat, but we just didn't look that good. And the reason was we were working 80 hours a week for decades. We were raising children. I've got 3 kids. Mark's got 2 kids. And when you're working 80 hours a week and you're traveling 200 days a year in multiple countries and continents, your health declines and you're not taking it seriously. So as you think about reinventing yourself to your 3.0 version, take your health very seriously. We're just creating a program right now called 75-Day Transformation. We're only in the first month of it, and the average person's now lost like 16 pounds. Like, it's crazy, but it's about optimizing for sleep and getting up early, exercising, and going to work right away. So when you're thinking about sales, if you don't get yourself in state, if you're not in state, if you don't get yourself mentally, physically in state, you're not going to succeed anyway. So this is why I'm talking about health right now. So this morning, when I get up at 5 o'clock, I have this whole hour-long thing where I do some studying, and I go right into the gym for the 6 o'clock class. And I'm ready, mentally, physically, I'm in state. So when you're ready to perform, you're ready. So it's about that preparation. You don't just roll out of bed and become great at sales. There's some prep work that has to happen.
I'm Mark Organ. I'm co-host of The Best Half Show, all about how to make the second half of your life 10 times better than your first. I've been a successful software as a service company CEO. I've created companies like Eloqua and Influitive. And today I help category defining software company CEOs generate massive success in their businesses. You can find out more about me at categoryknots.com. And if you qualify, you get a free 45-minute session with me. I'll generate a lot of value for you right in that session. And if we hit it off, maybe you'll be a client.
So as we talk about sales, I just want to really stress to you that the best version of you, it's going to be in the new identity and your new story. So let's talk about some things we know about sales. People only buy things when they're unhappy. And again, I'm talking about consumer sales. Again, business to business is different. But in consumer sales, people only buy when they're unhappy. What does that mean? Nobody goes to the shopping mall when they're incredibly happy. Like, you don't see like Buddhist monks or Orthodox, rabbis like going to the shopping mall. They're content. They don't need any more. The people that are going shopping, and whether it's online shopping or physical shopping, they're just not happy. There's some part of their life they're not happy about, and they think that by buying something, it's going to give them that dopamine hit, that serotonin boost, whatever they think it's going to do for them, and it will for a few minutes, and then it goes away. And because I've been involved in selling $6 billion of real estate around the world, what I've learned is the most unhappy people, the people that have messed up their kids or their relationships or their grandkids or whatever they've done, when you've really messed up your life, you look to buy real estate because you think that is going to fix your life. So all purchases are made by people that are unhappy. And when you think about that, if you're in the sales process with someone, you've got to make them happy. So it starts with greeting them properly and getting to know them as a human being. So it's not about product knowledge, it's about them liking you. And we like people like ourselves. So for example, my friends tend to speak like I do. If I had friends that maybe were speaking more like my kids, it'd be like, hey bro, they'd be using different words, all right? So if you want to build a relationship with somebody, build rapport, you've got to speak in their language. So what that means is if your target customer is using big words, you're going to want to use big words. If your customer is using really simple language or slang, you might want to move your language to that. We only like people like ourselves. If your customer is not wearing a jacket, maybe you don't wear a jacket. If your customer is wearing shorts and a t-shirt, maybe you dress like your customer because you want your customer to like you. So it's about building rapport, building the relationship. So I know this is not a sales script, but this is really important because if the person doesn't like you, they're not going to buy from you. So by matching their language, and that could be done on the phone, again, the words that they're using, the speed, some people speak slowly, some people speak softly, some people speak loud, some people are very soft-spoken. So you need to adjust that because what happens is people only buy when they like somebody. So it's really important to build that communication, that rapport with somebody, and it starts by just looking at your customer, getting to know them. The next thing is they really don't care about you or your product. It's all about them. So the only thing you're going to be doing is asking questions, and you're going to be incredibly curious and deeply interested in that person, and they will sense it. If you're actually curious about that person and really interested in that person, they're going to sense that, and they're going to open up to you. Once they open up, you're going to understand really what they're unhappy about, why they came into that store, why they made the call, or why they registered on your website. You want to find out what the pain is. So in life, we do everything for either pain or pleasure. We do far more to avoid pain than we do for pleasure. I'll give you an example of that. The reason you went to work today is because if you don't go to work, you lose your home, you lose your car, you lose things. That's why most people get up in the morning and go to work. We don't necessarily work that hard for pleasure. Like a lot of us could 10x our income, but we're not willing to get out of our comfort zone. We don't want to work that hard. We don't want to get up that early or work that late. So there's pain and pleasure. So most people are doing things to avoid pain. And again, in that conversation with your prospects, you're going to learn about that. And you want to really be sincere and understand them. So now you're matching and mirroring them. I want to give you an example of Adnan Khashoggi. Some of you might not know who Adnan Khashoggi was, but at one point he was the richest man in the world. Came from poverty, came from nothing, and became an arms dealer. But Adnan Khashoggi, and this is pre-internet, pre-Google searches, he was very relentless about doing his research. So now he's selling a big ticket item. But when he knew he got a meeting with someone, he would call their assistant or secretary. These days it's hard to find that, but you can find that information now on social media. But he'd find out what are they into? Oh, they're into tennis, or they tend to wear brown suits, or whatever he could learn about that person. And he would literally change his outfit based on who he's meeting. So if he's meeting somebody that's athletic, or again likes to play tennis a lot, he would literally dress like an athletic person, or someone plays tennis. If it was a very formal a person, somebody that always wore a suit and tie, he would wear a suit. The man would change 5 or 6 times per day based on his meetings. Think about that. This guy came from poverty, became the world's richest man. It wasn't a sales script. It wasn't what he said. It was what he did was he was able to build rapport with somebody. Let me give you another example. If you've ever noticed this in a movie theater or in a concert or theater, just look at the people down the row. Look to the right or to the left of you. The way people cross their legs, they tend to cross their legs the same way. It sounds crazy, but it's true. If you want to build rapport with somebody, cross your legs the same way or hold your arms the way they are. It's something they'll never notice, but you're building a rapport with that person. So Tony Robbins has some great information about this if you want to learn more about rapport. But this is really important. So this is before you ever speak a word. The next thing is most of the sales process is about getting an appointment. The only way to get an appointment is on the phone. That's how you get appointments. It's not through email. It's not through text messaging. I mean, you can try that, but there's so much automation. There's so much AI. There's so many AI chatbots that are so human-like now that are fooling people. It's very, very difficult to break through the noise. Hey, it's Roman Bodnarchuk from The Best Half Show. I'd love you to join me on a 75-day complete transformation. I want you to join me because I'm going to do it with you. It's 75 days where I believe together we can create and become the best of our possible selves. Imagine in 75 days, we have the best bodies of our lives. Imagine in 75 days, we look the best we've ever done. I really believe we can do it. So I look forward to you joining me on the 75-day transformation. You know how you break through the noise? You call somebody, because they all have their phone with them 24/7. They look at it 350 times a day. But guess what happens? Nobody's actually calling them. So think about that. We all have a phone that's with us 24/7. We're looking at it 350 times a day, but nobody's calling us. So you break through the clutter by actually making a phone call. Now, this part's really important. Again, this is why I encourage you to watch this on YouTube, on your TV with a notebook. You must be standing. You must be standing when you're making your phone call. Now, some of you are going, oh my gosh, Roman, you want me to stand all day? Yes, I do. Standing is incredibly important. You're literally 8x more powerful when you stand. Just give you some examples. So in communication, right now I'm communicating with you. There's really 3 tools that I have. I've got my words, I have my body language, my physiology, and I have my voice tonality. So I can speak slowly, I can speak quickly, I can speak louder. But only 3 tools we have. So you've got your words, you've got your body language, your physiology, and you've got your voice tonality. The only 3 tools we have in communication. So most of us think our words are the most important. And the fact is they're the least important. Body language, your physiology, is 55% of it. Do you think you've got more energy and more power when you're standing up? Absolutely. So 55% of your communication is going to come through your body language. When you're standing up, you're way more powerful. So even if somebody was sitting down and I'm standing above them, even if they were physically stronger than I was, I'm in control. Because I'm standing, I'm in a dominant position. So the fact that you're standing making a phone call makes a huge difference. Try this with your spouse, try this with your kids, try this with your friends. You will absolutely dominate the conversation just by standing. I know it sounds crazy, but try it. Number 2 is your body language. When you use your arms and when you're using all of your body and your voice tonality. When you're sitting down, you can't use those tools. Your body language is 55%, but 38% is your voice tonality. If you're sitting down, you don't have that much power. Words are only 7%. So a lot of us are so worried about what do I say and what do I say if he says this or she says this. Guys, don't worry about that because 93% of communication is in your body language and your tonality. That's why, when I travel, 200 days a year and I go to different countries, I can watch TV. And even though it's a language I don't understand, just by watching, I understand what they're saying. Just by watching the body language, the voice tonality, I might not even know the language, but I can figure out what's happening, and so can you. So this stuff is really important. I know it sounds very basic to you, but this is 93% of your communication sales is going to be based on you standing up, okay, and using all the tools that you have, your body language, your voice tonality. The words are 7%. We'll get to the words. The words are the easy part. The next part is once you've built physical rapport with somebody, you're standing, you have way more energy when you're standing. Sitting is the new cancer. Tim Cook does a great talk about this. The reason that most people now are dying of all these diseases is because they're sitting too long. All these diseases can be prevented if we go back to nature and think about how we lived for 10,000 years. We were walking, we were running around, we were doing all kinds of things. We weren't just sitting. Today we're sitting 92% of the time. It's unbelievable. That's the real health crisis we have. So it's why we also have the #1 standing podcast online. We just don't believe in sitting. Now, do you sit sometimes to watch a video? Sure, take notes, yes, but as much as you can, you want to stand, especially in the sales process. Next point. So you've got your body language, you've built rapport with somebody, and all you're doing is asking questions. You're just curious about the person. You want them to talk. It's not about you talking, it's about you learning about them. And if you're matching their body language and you're matching their voice tonality, they're going to tell you. And honestly, people just care about themselves. They don't care about you or your product. So don't worry about your product knowledge. Don't worry about all these things that you're concerned about. Just be focused on the customer. And they're going to see that you sincerely want to help them, that you actually care about them. Because if they can sense that you actually care about them, you're going to build a relationship. The next part is don't worry about the sale happening that moment. Most sales don't. Most sales will happen on the second or third or fourth or fifth interaction. But 95% of salespeople don't do any follow-up. And I'm going to give you some easy techniques on this. When I meet anybody, I'm talking about anyone, even if you just fill out a form on our website, like everybody, I add you to all my social media, to my Facebook, my Twitter, my LinkedIn, my whatever it is. We add you to everything. Why do I do that? Because I want to understand you. I want to get to know you. And now, do you think you could know a lot about somebody by looking at their Instagram or their Facebook or their X profiles? Oh my gosh, you can. We use an AI tool. It only takes a few seconds, but literally reads every social media post that you've ever read your entire life. Think about this. Every social media post that you've ever posted your entire life in seconds, and it dissects it to us and it gives us exactly your personality type. It tells us exactly what words to use, how to phrase the emails. We're using some technology in the background. You don't need all that. You can just spend a little bit of time looking at their social media, get an idea of them. And guess what? They will do the same to you. So you want to do business with people that you like, people that you're friendly with. So even if you just had one meeting with a person and then you don't have a second meeting, every day that you update your social media, and hopefully there's some parts about your business, not just about, pictures of your kids or whatever you did that day. Hopefully there's some element of business in your social media. They get reminded about you. So it's another touch point, and it takes many, many, many touch points for someone to buy from you. That's why McDonald's doesn't stop advertising. That's why Coca-Cola doesn't stop advertising. That's why the biggest brands in the world, they don't stop advertising, because it's constant, non-stop reinforcement. It's like Chinese water torture. It's like dropping the water drops on your head. So you need to be in front of the customer. I find social media a very inexpensive way to do it. Yes, you could send emails. Yes, you could do newsletters. There's lots of things you could do. But just being active in social media and making sure that every prospect and every customer you have is connected with you, it's a great way to do it. The next part is objections. So every customer is going to have objections. So yes, we can learn an entire manual of every product, thing that you have and your competitors. But what I found is we can simplify this and just make it a little bit easier. And I learned this from Brian Tracy. And for those of you that are really serious about sales, you're going to read everything that Brian Tracy has ever done. You're going to watch every video that Brian Tracy's ever done, because he's a master at this. So he taught me this thing called feel, felt, found. So whatever objection they give you, say, Roman, I think that's too expensive. And I could say, Brian, I know how you feel. When I first saw the price, I felt the same way. But here's what I found, Brian. I found that the people that are using our product are incredibly happy. It's solved a lot of their issues, and it's been amazing for them. So I know how you feel. Here's, again, feel. Okay, here exactly, I know how you feel. I felt the same way. Okay, so I felt the same way you did, but here's what I found. And you tell them a story, because stories sell. So instead of you learning all the specs about your product, which nobody cares about, they want to hear the story. And it doesn't have to be your story, but it's your customer's story. So stories sell. So facts tell, stories sell. So don't worry about memorizing all of the facts about your product. Nobody cares. What they want to hear is success stories. How has this product solved somebody else's problems? So just to go back here, any objection you get, generally speaking, you can get through feel, felt, found. I know how you feel. I felt the same way, and here's what I found, and you tell them a story. So it's all about telling stories. Hi, it's Roman Bodnerchuk from The Best Half Show. Hey, just want to introduce myself. Some of you have been watching our podcast. Some of you don't know, what I did before this. So age 14, bought my first piece of real estate. I've literally bought and sold and rented hundreds of properties since then, and I've done this in 5 countries around the world. Then I started my first company, age 30, raised over $1 million in venture capital, became the 11th fastest growing company in the country, the 13th fastest growing company, incredibly successful. Well, what I'm most proud of is helping 5 different startups reach over $1 billion in sales. But I am willing to help you on a 15-minute call, scale your business, scale your life, whatever you want to really transform. And if you're serious, you're going to do it. And again, it's Roman Bodnerchuk, and I look forward to meeting you and helping you. So today, what I'm encouraging you to do is get deep into sales. Sales, we can use fancy words like persuasion, but this is the most important business skill in life. What's incredible to me is even after all these years, I still cannot believe it, but no schools teach this. You look at MBA programs, no one's teaching sales. You look at any university, they have all kinds of crazy courses. You can take a Taylor Swift course now, but there's no sales courses. This is the most important skill in business, the most important skill in life, and no one's teaching this to you. So when they ask Warren Buffett, one of the 3rd or 4th richest men in the world, the greatest investor of our time, Warren, what advice do you give to somebody? What advice? And he says, invest in yourself. Take a Dale Carnegie course. Dale Carnegie has great programs about sales. The only useful course I took at university, and I loved my university, it was super fun, but the only useful course I took was one called speech. Small class, wasn't that popular, but we had to get up in front of the room, and they gave us some crazy topic. You had to get up and just present to people. So learning how to communicate has never been more important. And our children are really suffering with this because they're even more addicted to the cell phones than we are. I mean, it might be a tie, but their brains are smaller, and so it's really having a deep impact on them. Our children, their IQ has actually gone down. This is profound. Never in human history have we seen people getting dumber, and they're getting dumber because of Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat and all this crazy stuff. but they can't even communicate anymore. Look at the text messages you have with your children. They're not spelling things properly. They can't even write a proper sentence. I mean, this is really scary. So learning basic communication skills have never been more important. Why? Because today, you and I, all of us, we're competing with AI. AI, it's a year old. Think about ChatGPT. It's just over a year old. It's already smarter than any human. Within a year, it'll be smarter than all humans combined. You're competing with that. That's who's taking your job. This is the reality of what we're doing. And believe me, AI, they know how to spell. With AI, they know how to script perfect emails, perfect letters, okay? So we are fighting for our lives. We're competing with AI, so we need to teach our families, our friends, our children how to communicate, how to look somebody in the eye. Most kids today, they can't because they're always looking down. They're literally looking down about 8 or 9 hours a day, literally staring down. They can't even look at people in the eye anymore. They don't shake people's hands. They don't even know how to greet people. I mean, it's really, really sad. I see this. I've got 3 kids, 3 teenagers, and I see them and their friends, and this is a very scary time in history. So we as adults, we as fathers, as parents, we need to learn these skills and teach these skills. But we can't teach something that we're not doing ourselves. So if we're not actually executing these things and doing it, our kids model us. So we're the example, but never in human history has it been more important to learn these skills: how to sell, how to present, how to build rapport. Because again, the middle class is being annihilated, and we're all fighting for our lives with AI. So this is the time I want you to go deep. We are now redoing our sales program. Our sales program has been implemented by companies around the world. Every company that we've ever implemented in has doubled their sales within 90 days. We've never, ever not reached that. I think with some of the new techniques that we have because of the AI and some things we're doing, I think we're going to get better results. I think we could probably double sales within 75 days. So we're literally redoing and re-recording all this. It's not ready yet, but we're working on it. But I would say there's no better investment in yourself right now than learning sales. And some of the greats like Brian Tracy or Tony Robbins or Jim Rohn or some of the guys who've been around for 50 years, they're going to teach you some of the basics. The stuff we do is a bit more advanced, but you've got to get the basics. But I'm challenging you. There is nothing more important in your life, in your business, in your career to learn how to sell. You want to get that promotion. You want to make more money. Whatever it is in your life, you have to learn the sales skills. This is the most crucial time in history to learn sales, and I challenge you to do that. So our next episode will be with Mark, part 2. He has a very different way. Again, his sales have been more B2B. Mine are to consumers. And, I believe that, again, my perspective has been we're selling to human beings, and human beings have certain needs. And they're not happy. That's why they're buying that product or service. Our job is to make them feel good, to make them happy, and for them to believe through stories that our product will help them improve their lives. And if you're not selling a product that's improving somebody's lives, you might want to rethink that too. It's really difficult to be authentic. It's very difficult to be passionate. It's really difficult to get up at 5 in the morning and want to go to work in the morning unless you believe in what you do. I've always been a big fan of what we've done. We change people's lives every day. And I think when you have a belief and a passion about what you do, you can be authentic because people can see through your BS very, very quickly. And especially through social media now. Everything is transparent now. So if you don't represent a product or service that you love and that you're passionate about, you might want to rethink that. Because I think you really have to believe, because people can sense it, they can see it. Even if you're on a Zoom call. Again, a lot of sales today are on the phone and Zoom. They're going to see it. And by the way, if you're on Zoom, don't be sitting down either. Again, when you're standing, it's a huge difference. But I'll tell you one advantage I have learned with Zoom, and this was specifically for real estate. It's helped me a lot. So when I get on a Zoom, we used to use Skype, just to tell you how long we've been doing this. We've done millions and millions and millions of dollars of video sales over Skype, and this is back like 15 years ago. Because when we have a Skype call or a Zoom call, we're in somebody's home. And when we talk about real estate, I asked him to show me, hey, show me like, how does that work? Like, oh, your kitchen is on the left-hand side and the living room is there. I asked him to kind of give me the layout. I don't ask him to walk around, show me every room, but I get a sense of it. Why is that important? People are very familiar. And if you walk in your home and your kitchen is on the right-hand side, for example, and your living room is like on your left-hand or dining room's on the left-hand side, guess what kind of home they're gonna want? They're gonna want the same thing. Now, they don't know that. They don't actually know that. But anytime you sell somebody or you show somebody a home that has the kitchen on the left and maybe the dining room on the right, they're not gonna like it. And they don't even know why, but I do know why. We are very familiar, we're very habitual. So again, having the insight to see inside of people's homes, this is very powerful. When they come into your sales office, you don't have that advantage. So if you're doing a FaceTime call, which works just as great, or a WhatsApp video call, I'll just give you a quick funny story. I run a co-living business in 3 countries. Co-living is we rent bedrooms. And this one gentleman had messaged out. Now, he works for Apple. I'm a bit obsessed with only 3 companies in the world. Apple's one of them for over 35 years. I only use Apple products. 2 is Tesla. I've been driving Teslas for 10 years. I'm on my 3rd one. And by the way, the new full service driving is just insane. I just downloaded it this week and been using it. It's unbelievable. And the 3rd one's HubSpot, the company I mentioned before that is being bought by Google for $50 billion. But because it was an Apple employee, I took that lead on myself. And we had a few phone calls, and we went right to video. And he's like, show me this, show me that. And I said, sure. Why don't you just show me in your living room, what does it look like? So he shows me this house. Now, what I didn't know is at what level he was at Apple. I knew he was an executive, but I had no idea he reported directly to Tim Cook. So he has this house over a cliff overlooking the ocean. And I said to him, we only rent bedrooms. He says, oh, I know that, but I'm going to take the whole house anyway. I'm going to rent all the rooms. I said, interesting. I never would have known that if he just filled out a web form and we used our standard things. It's because I built a relationship. We got on a video call. And when I asked him, hey, just do me a favor, just turn the camera around. And obviously, we're using an Apple iPhone. Just show me, what does your kitchen layout look? And I see he's on a cliff overlooking the ocean. I'm like, okay, it's a different conversation now. I understand where he's coming from. When you report directly to Tim Cook and you have to get up at 4:30 in the morning to email your boss, it's a different level of conversation. But I never would have had that intelligence if I hadn't gone to video. So I think video is an amazing thing. Obviously, in person, it's easier to sell somebody. They feel your passion, your energy. But I think video calls are very powerful. So for those of you that say, hey, Roman, I'm just on the phone with customers, I'm on Zoom, great. It's a superpower as well. So I'm wrapping up today, but there's some really, really important things here. We want you to reinvent your life. I'm Roman 3.0. You've met my partner, Mark 3.0. We're the best versions of ourselves, but it begins with our health. It begins with the skills that we're learning because we're in an age where we're fighting for our lives. We're fighting for our families, and we want the best for you. Have a great day.